Our lesson this week for violins and violas is going to be 3 different things. So the first thing, I want to make sure you are still working on and continually daily working on your lines and space notes in reading music. So on page 15 of your book, they teach you a couple of the lines and spaces, and those lines and spaces are the lines and spaces for the open strings of your instrument. So if you play your G with no fingers, your G string, where is that G on your lines and spaces? And of course, it's pretty low for both violins and violas. Violas have an even lower C note that is very, very low below the staff. They had to draw a couple lines in order to do that. And then violins, same thing. They had to draw a couple lines to get down to the G note that's your open string. And then the high note, violas, that's an A, and that's right up at the top of your staff. And violins, that's an E, that's right at the top of your staff. So make sure violins, empty, garbage, before, dad, flips are the lines, F, A, C, E are the spaces. For violas, you have to learn new lines and spaces. The lines are Farmer Anderson's cows eat grass, and the spaces are good boys do fine always. Okay, so make sure you're working that. Use the end of your stuff you should know packet. Point at the note, say the letter. Point at the note, say the letter. Just use that every day, and it'll get so easy you won't even need to think about it. Now, that's page 15. The songs that we're going to learn today are song number 5 on page 17, Hot Cross Buns, and song number 6 on page 18, which is called Good King Wenceslas. Let's start on page 17, and let me tell you the stuff that you're going to need to know on page 17 as we go. There's also one thing on page 16 that you're going to need to know, and I'll jump back during Hot Cross Buns and show you what that is. Okay, so on page 17 in the blue box up top, there are 2 words. Piz, which is an abbreviation for pizzicato, which is the Italian word for plucking. Okay, and arco, which is the Italian word for bow. So if you have not won your bow back, if you were absent that day, or if you haven't earned it back yet, that's fine. Make sure to be practicing with your pencil. Okay, so remember, the bow hold is round, your thumb is round, your fingers are round, and you're going to put your fingers around the pencil so that these 3 fingers, 1, 2, 3, without your pinky, are kind of wrapping around. You're not using your fingertips for those 2. Then you lean over diagonally onto your pointer finger. Your pinky fingertip is going to set on top of the stick, and then your thumb is going to be back kind of on the opposite side of your middle finger, and it's going to be bent, and you're going to have that little circle in order to hold your bow. Those of you that have your bows, you still need to do that. Make sure you don't come back having some weird bow hold you've been playing, because I really need you to have a good bow hold in order to get this right and sound good. So please make sure you are doing that. Then, Hot Cross Buns, there's a few things. First of all, there's a couple notes that are tiny notes in parentheses. They're not part of the song, they're just to help you get your fingers in the right spot. So, getting your fingers in the right spot when you play, of course I taught you to put all of your fingers down, not your pinky yet, but your 1, 2, 3 fingers down so that your 3rd finger is on the 3rd finger tape, your 1st finger is on the 1st finger tape, and your 2nd finger is closest to your 3rd finger, so there's space in between your 1 and your 2, and no space in between your 2 and your 3. I taught you how to do that already, but you can also listen and make sure your fingers sound like they're in the right spot, and that's what they've written down for you. They want you, once you get your fingers down, leave them hover above the string since we don't need them. They want you to play your open D string, and then they want you to sing in your head, do, re, mi, and then that's the notes. Your open string is do, do, then your 1st finger is re, re, and then your 2nd finger is mi. So that will make sure that you're playing the F sharp where it's supposed to be on your instrument. So if you play that, but your fingers aren't in the right spot, you could end up with something that sounds weird. Hear that's not do, re, mi. That's what we want to have. Now, once you're playing mi, you're on your F sharp with your second finger. You're ready to start the song. Okay, so the song starts on F sharp, and we play F sharp, E, D. It is not your open E string violins, it's your E with your first finger. So you're playing 2, pick up your 2, 1, pick up your 1, open. Okay, so let's play that. 1, 2, ready, play. F sharp, E, D, then a rest for 2 beats. That's a half rest. Looks like a hat. Okay? Then what they have is they have that apostrophe looking thing up above the end of that D note. What that means is you're going to do a bow circle. So you were just playing down bow. You're going to make a little tiny circle and put your bow back down on the D string so that you're ready to go and you have enough room for a down bow. If you don't do that, then you're all the way down here and you run out of bow. So you want to make a little bow circle. They call it a lift sign. Sometimes it's called a breath if you play a wind instrument. That would be a time where you stop and take a breath. We're taking a breath like this and putting the bow back down. Okay? Do you need to breathe there? No, but if you feel yourself breathing, it's the same motion, and then you put your bow back down. Okay? So that is the way that goes. So hot cross buns, I'm going to play it all the way through for you. If you need to work on your notes, look at the notes where they're written in the blue box on top. That'll remind you what line and space it's on, what finger and what string you're supposed to be playing for each one of these notes. Okay, so here is hot cross buns from beginning to end. I'm not going to do the repeat just to save video time, but beginning to the end the first time through. 1, 2, starting on F sharp, here I go. Half rest and a bow lift. Rest and a bow lift. Half rest and a bow lift, getting ready to repeat and repeat the song again. So watch that as many times as you need to, over and over, in order to make sure you're getting the right fingers and you sound like I sounded, and learn hot cross buns. Now turn to page 18. Page 18, we're going to learn song number 6, and song number 6 is Good King Wenceslas. This is actually a Christmas song, but it's a unusual Christmas song that not a lot of people today have heard of, but it is a Christmas song. So, Good King Wenceslas, if you look on this page, they have gotten you to using your third finger for the G note on your D string. So now we have open D, E with our first finger, F sharp with our second, G with our third, and Good King Wenceslas also uses the open A string. So we're going to play most of our notes on the D string, but when you need an A, you're going to move your bow over and play on the A string. Okay, there's one more thing that you need to know about this, and it has to do with the A string, and that is underneath the last G, they have a 3, which tells you you're playing with your third finger, but then they have a dotted bracket line that goes all the way until you play G again, and what they're telling you to do there is leave your third finger down. That means you're going to need to make sure that you're playing with your very fingertips, and the back of these fingers here are not touching against the A string, so that when you move your bow across, it doesn't squeak at you. If you touch a string without holding it firmly down with the tip of your finger, like if the back of your fingers are touching the A string and you go to play the A, it's going to make this weird, horrible, squeaky sound that you do not want to make. It's that thing, okay? So please don't do that. Your parents aren't going to like it. You're not going to like it. Your dog's not going to like it. Your cat's not going to like it. Don't do it. So tip of your fingers, make sure there's a tunnel for the A string where you are not touching with your fingers that are playing on the D string. That way you can leave your third finger down on the G and still play the A note. Okay? So, the first notes in Good King Wenceslas are G, 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 A, G, G, D. So your third finger stays down, you move your bow to the A string, that's your elbow and your arm dropping to go to the A, and then back to the D string, your elbow and arm come up, And then the last note is an open D, so then you do get to pick up your fingers in order to play the open string D. So leaving your third finger, or your 1, 2, and 3 down for most of this bit until you get to the open D. So here's how it goes. 1, 2, ready, here I go. G, 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 A, G, G, D. Okay, so play that as many times as you need to get that sound, and make sure you're using your third finger down where it's not touching the A string. Then going on to measure 3 of this song, we're going to take measure 3 and 4 as another little piece, and we start on an E note. That E note again is your first finger on your D string. It's that E. So you're going to play E, then pick it up to D, then back to first finger E, then second finger with a finger's worth of space here. Make sure that you have a whole step. F sharp, and then G, there's no space here. It's a half step between your F sharp and your G. Okay? So it's going to be 1, open 1, high 2, 3, 3, E, D, E, F sharp, G, G. So let's play that measure 3 and 4 a couple times in a row, just to make sure your fingers can really play this well. So here we go, starting on the E note. Ooh, I forgot the thing I was going to mention. Notice up above the E, there is an up bow marking. It's that little pointy mahoojer. Since you were already playing down, up, down, up, down, up, down, you're already ready to go up for the next one, and they're just reminding you, if you're starting in the middle, make sure your bow is moving this direction when you start that E note, so that when you play the whole song, it feels the same. Okay? So starting on an up bow on that E note. 1, 2, ready, here we go. And again, 2, I'll say the notes this time, go. E, D, E, F sharp, G, G. Okay, now if you look at this song closely, the next half of the song is exactly what you just played. So as long as you can recognize that, you still need to be watching the notes, but as long as you recognize, oh, that's the same thing I just played, you don't actually need to practice and learn the second half, you just did. So all you need to do is go, oh, now I play this again, I already remember what that is, and you're going to play it. So I'm going to play the whole thing with you, or for you, whether you want to play along or not, and that'll give you an idea what this song sounds like. Again, I'm going to skip the repeat. You're supposed to skip back to the beginning at the end and play it once more through, but I'm going to save video time and not do that. So starting at the very beginning, don't start at the end. Starting at the very beginning, we're going to start on our third finger G on our D string. All the notes are on our D string except for the open A, and you need to leave a tunnel for the open A so that it doesn't squeak. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. Repeat it back to the beginning again. Okay, so 3 things that you really need to work on for this coming time. Page 15, make sure you know what lines and spaces your open strings are on. Also, know the lines and spaces for all of your notes using the Stuff You Should Know packet, the very last page, pointing in a note, saying a letter, pointing a note, saying a letter, pointing in a note, saying a letter. Make sure you do that a lot. Violas, that's really important because you need to learn notes that aren't what we learned in music class. Violins, they are the notes that you learned in music class, but you definitely need to know them. Every song we play from here on out will be easier if you just look at it and you already know what the letter is. That way you can figure out what finger and what string you're playing and just go. Instead of like, oh, that's an E note. Where's an E note? What finger is it? Like, you need to just go E, first finger, and then you'll learn songs faster. Okay, then also page 17, song number 5, Hot Cross Buns, Hot Cross Buns. Then page 18, Good King Wenceslas. Okay, so learn those songs, have some fun this week. If you have any questions about it, please reach out to me. I will try and help you as much as I can. and have a great week making music.